Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores, and man, at this point, I'm not even exactly sure what to believe. These reports are getting very weird. They're contradicting each other at times and things like that, but it seems like the closer we get to the actual sale of this team, the more truthful the news seemed to be. The more realistic, the more confirmed by multiple sources, all of that type of stuff. So, just bear with me. Some of the things we're going to talk about today is going to sound like the exact opposite of what was reported months ago or even just weeks ago. Hey man, I'm just the messenger. But apparently, Dan Snyder is actually not opposed to Jeff Bezos placing a bid. I mean, of course, there was that whole update of Jeff Bezos signing an NDA and all of that type of stuff. So then we started to think, okay, maybe Dan Snyder's actually cool with Jeff Bezos potentially buying the team. And now it's been confirmed through another report that he is. Also, the NFL owners will not attempt to vote out Dan Snyder at this owners meeting tomorrow. And of course, also, if you didn't know, the team will not be sold at the NFL owners meeting tomorrow as well. There was optimism that the team was probably maybe even sold already and we would get an announcement at the owners meeting, but no, the team has apparently, or at least reportedly, not been sold yet. Things are very close, but they're not as close as we hoped from all of the reports we would get in the beginning of this week. But again, the owners are not voting out Dan Snyder, and the reason may be the fact that they're a little afraid of him and what he may do. But before we dive into all of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get notification immediately. And every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one, make sure you pull up every Sunday for the Commanders Call In live show, where I open up the phone lines and y'all call in. You voice your opinions on everything going on with the team, or it can even be outside of the Commanders if you want to. And of course, man, make sure you stay tuned for everything free agency. I'm working on free agency grades for everybody that we've signed so far. Stay tuned for everything draft. I'm working on mock drafts, updating y'all on prospects that the team is interested in, updating y'all on all of the pro days that our team went to, all of that type of stuff, guys that we're bringing in for private visits, everything. So man, make sure y'all stay tuned. A lot of content coming out, trying to make 2 videos a day for at least a while now because there's so much to talk about. Without further ado, let's get it. Again, just to go ahead and let you know, the Commanders sale is not formally on the NFL owners meeting agenda. Like, they typically have like an outline of the things they definitely want to cover, and that's not one of them. So maybe they surprise us and come out of nowhere and like, psych, the team actually is sold to such and such, but as of right now, it doesn't look like it, to be completely honest with you. And then to go to the main report that I wanted to discuss today from Charles Gasparino, he said people close to the Commanders owner Dan Snyder say he isn't opposed to Jeff Bezos placing a bid in for the team, and they have communicated that to Bezos's people. Fox Business has learned from people with direct knowledge. These people say Snyder's animus to Bezos over coverage issues has been overblown. Bezos has yet to place a bid for the team though, and the sale, if it happens, will likely occur after next week's tomorrow's owners meeting, I am told. Also overblown, these people say NFL pressure on Snyder to sell. It's his decision for a variety of reasons. So Dan Snyder still does hold quite a bit of power in this situation, but again, most notably, a lot of people close to the situation have said that Dan Snyder is okay with Jeff Bezos placing a bid. Jeff Bezos is allowed to be a part of this, and again, it was reported very low-key that Jeff Bezos did sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement with Dan Snyder, so that he's able to look at all of the team's records, bookings, and things like that. He can't speak on it. It's for a lot of reasons, but I mean, just that report alone was like, okay, maybe Snyder's at the very least a little open to Jeff Bezos buying the team, and now it sounds like it's quite likely that he's actually more than open to it. And if he's open to anybody buying the team, including Jeff Bezos could more than likely be the owner because he can offer the most money. That Josh Harris, Mitchell Rales, Magic Johnson, and maybe a couple other people thrown in there, combination of a team right now, seem like the favorites as long as Jeff Bezos isn't allowed to place a bid. And they are the favorites out of everybody that has placed a bid. For some reason, Jeff Bezos reportedly hasn't yet, but if he wants to buy the team, he can offer the most money by far. And if Dan Snyder is okay with selling to him, Dan Snyder's going to take the offer that gives him the most money. Also, it's already been reported that the owners do prefer Jeff Bezos because he has the most money and he would bring the most value to the NFL. So it seems like everybody but a lot of Commanders fans would easily prefer Bezos. Dan Snyder seems fairly neutral, and of course all of the other NFL owners prefer Bezos because he has the most money. But also Lake Lewis brought up a good point. I still think there's some owners who prefer Bezos because of his deep pockets. He doesn't need other billionaire investors and would bring name value to the league. More importantly, he could fund a stadium that wouldn't require taxpayer dollars. That would be a win for the DC DMV area all over. So again, like I've already stated, if you're one of those guys that really wants a chance of the new stadium being in RFK, Jeff Bezos is really your only hope. Because even Mitchell Rails, Josh Harris, and Magic Johnson, that whole combination of people, they barely even have enough money to buy the team, let alone be able to have enough money still left over to buy the stadium, to not need help from taxpayer dollars and need assistance from Maryland, DC, or Virginia, which is a problem that Dan Snyder was running into before this whole selling the team thing even happened. And again, I've already explained as a Commanders fan not from the DMV area that's from Atlanta why Jeff Bezos would be a great option for me. With our brand being everywhere and in your face as much as possible, I could get Commanders gear anywhere I want, especially like on Amazon. We would be more annoying in everywhere than even the Cowboys are. So that would be fun, but I understand a lot of the negatives that may come with Jeff Bezos potentially as well. But it's really interesting, again, most notably, that Dan Snyder is like, hey man, I don't know what they talking about, but Jeff Bezos, man, if he's offering a bigger offer, I'm just gonna go with him. All I care about is the money. I've been living in London for months now. I'm over all of this. I just want to make sure I'm straight legally, but after that, man, Bezos can have it. Whoever wants it can have it. Also, Albert Breer reported a few days ago, quote, "In here, we have more detail on the Commander's sale. For right now, there's no vote on it scheduled for this week's owners' meetings. And barring a pretty serious acceleration in the process, that is likely gonna have to wait until May. The good news though, things are moving along. So again, don't panic. Even though this may sound like a setback, it's not. Things are still definitely progressing and moving along. We're only getting closer to a sale. It just may not happen as quickly as a lot of people think." And this report comes from the fact that the NFL owners will probably give Roger Goodell his 4th extension. And then while reporting on that, people also talked about the whole Commander situation. And again, like I already said earlier, there's no vote to remove Dan Snyder, and the whole Commander sale is not even necessarily a thing that's officially on the agenda right now. Mark Mask reported NFL team owners are pausing any consideration of removing Dan Snyder from ownership while awaiting developments on the Commander sale, indemnification, and the league's investigation from last night with Nikki Javala and Liz Clark tweet. So basically, the Commanders are not only not planning to vote out Dan Snyder right now, like it's not a part of the agenda, but actually they're kind of trying to avoid it. And it looks like it's because they're afraid that he may cause more trouble. As of right now, they're just kind of like, man, we just got headaches. We're stressed. We're sick of this. We just want this to be over. Whatever we got to do to just go ahead and get you out of here, we'll do it. So if that means we don't have to bring up voting you out, whatever it is, as long as we don't create more conflict for Dan Snyder to potentially be pettier and just keep stalling things and making things worse for everybody, Dan Snyder, whatever you want, here, take it. Anything but the whole indemnification against legal stuff, we're not going to give you that. But we're also verbally going to agree so far that we do not want to vote you out. And we want to basically allow this to be in your hands. You control who buys the team, for how much, and all of that type of stuff. We don't want to take that away from you because, again, we are afraid of what you may do to make everything even worse. We're this far along. We're further along than anybody ever expected. We're really close to the team being sold. We as the NFL owners don't want to do anything to offend him, to upset him, to even slightly sadden the man right now. We just want to mind our business and let him handle it. We would prefer for it to be done as soon as possible, but we feel like if we micromanage a little too much right now, we can end up messing things up and delaying the process even further. So that's basically it right now. They really just don't want to force everything on Dan Snyder right now. We're really close. It looks like Dan Snyder is close and he wants to be done with it. Do not give him a reason to be petty and to cut off his own nose to spite his face right now. Basically. So all of the NFL owners are basically taking a step back right now. They're not being all aggressive and active and things like that. They're just taking a step back and being like, hopefully it just handles itself and Dan Snyder does the right thing on his own. If we need to step in, we will. But as of right now, we're just going to let Dan Snyder feels like he has the power. Let him do everything he wants to, feed into his ego a little bit so we could just be done with this, man, because we as NFL owners are tired. We want to talk about other stuff. Also, shouts out out to JP Finley for this good tweet right here. Important comparison for the Commanders sale. Broncos sale reported by Schefter on June 8th, 2022. Broncos officially sold August 9th, 2022. Based on that, if the Commanders will officially be sold in May, then it sure seems like a report should be coming out soon. Because if the Broncos were sold August 9th, the report came out June 8th, 2 months and a day before. Again, if the team is to be sold in May, at this point, we have to hope for a late March announcement, and we only have 6 more days of March, so we'll see. A lot of reports are saying that it should be sold by May, maybe even possibly April, but again, according to that timeline, just going off of history, it's not necessarily true that the owners and Dan Snyder and whoever's buying the team is like, well, this is how the Broncos did it, so I guess this is how we got to do it. It's not an official outline or itinerary that everybody must follow, but just going off of history and what happened most recently with a team that was sold, you would think that there will be a 2-minute gap between the announcement of the sale and then it officially being sold and handed over to the new group of owners or singular owner like a Jeff Bezos. And again, if we're sticking to the schedule of all of these reports saying that the team should be officially sold by May and handed over to the new ownership group by May, that means it should happen in March, and we only have a few days left in March, so we'll see how this goes. I mean, some people were even reporting that it may happen in April, but it definitely looks very unlikely right now. Again, according to like a 2-month gap in between from recent history. Maybe this spills over into June. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure, just based on everything that we know, this should definitely be done before the 2023 season starts. Should even definitely be done. A lot of people are making it seem like before training camp, but of course we would prefer for it to be done as soon as possible so that the Commanders can make certain decisions like free agency. Right now, a lot of things, and I'm gonna report on this later, but some players that the Commanders may want to re-sign and extend long term, they're waiting until new ownership potentially to do it. Free agents that they may want to sign from other teams, they're waiting on new ownership to handle that. And of course, there was that report that people dug into the Commanders files and contracts and read the paperwork and the fine print and all of that, and basically the Commanders have delayed paying all of their signings, their re-signings like Deron Payne, their signings like Andrew Wiley, Nick Gates, and all these guys, Coney Barton. They're not getting paid until later. Normally people get paid within a couple of weeks after signing their contract. They're not getting paid till like May, which means that they're trying to avoid Dan Snyder having to pay for it. I'm pretty sure Dan Snyder himself is trying to avoid that, and they're waiting for the new owner to have to pay all of that money out of his pocket or their pockets as a group or whatever. So that's another reason why this team should be getting sold by May, because they pretty much set a deadline themselves about, okay, well, we delayed our players getting paid, which rarely happens in the NFL. It's only like a situation like this, and we delayed it until May, so this team should be sold by May. Otherwise, Dan Snyder, you keep playing games, you're gonna have to be the one that pays for a lot of Deron Payne's contract out of your own pockets rather than new owners. So, hey, Dan Snyder, you better get quick with it, man. You playing around, you're gonna lose some money for a team that you're no longer even gonna own in the future. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please leave a like on this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. Let me know how you feel about everything reported today. Are you more optimistic about the sale in general, but less optimistic about how soon it will happen? Of course, appreciate all the support, man. Shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose name you see scrolling on the screen right now. Again, please leave a like on this video on the way out. It's free for y'all. It means the world to me. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.